Welcome everyone to Three Guys, One Music. I'm Jamey. I'm here with Mike and Grant. We're here for season 2. We're excited to have everybody back with us. How's it going, guys?
All right.
We're
Jamey,
back.
how are you?
We're back.
All right.
Back and ready for action.
It's good to see you guys. It's been a
back.
minute. Yeah. So
It's
we're
been
going to talk, we're going to be discussing 5 of our favorite feel-good songs.
For the summer.
And interesting. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, my signal just went away for a second. So
Yeah,
I
you
don't know if
froze
you
for a
guys saw
second.
that.
I didn't know
Yeah.
what was happening. I was
Okay.
like,
We
I
were
thought you
all-
were just holding the face. I was
We
like,
were all paused for your next little thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Okay.
guess we'll see. So we'll talk about what we've been listening to, which we have not done that even prior to our last episode. I don't think we did that for a minute.
Yeah.
So it's been a little while. I will go first. I have been listening to Frank Zappa's 1975 release, One Size Fits All. I think that's my favorite Frank Zappa record. I've been listening to quite a bit of Zappa lately. It's hard to say why we get on a kick of listening to a particular artist. I just get fascinated with certain eras. And I know I listen to a lot more older music than you guys do, I guess, generally.
Yeah.
But been listening to Iron Maiden's 1984 release, Powerslave. I have found myself in the car
such a great album.
listening to that. And it's actually not sonically one of my favorite records of theirs. I find the guitar tone too abrasive. But it's still a very enjoyable record. It's very upbeat. And I enjoy the songs very much, but I don't love that's one of my least favorite guitar records of theirs, guitar sound.
Yeah.
I enjoy the ones after and before much more. And this one's a bit of a surprise. This is Poison's 1993 release, Native Tongue, with Richie Kotzen on guitar.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's
not
a
CC.
really good record, actually. It's unlike the rest of their catalog, I think. Much more mature. Richie Kotzen, excellent musician, excellent artist, singer, songwriter, guitar player, of course. Yeah, it's some really tasty guitar work on it and good songs. And he wrote my favorite songs on the record, the majority of them.
I can't remember. Did CC get kicked out or get hurt?
I don't really know. I think that it was a mutual get out, get off this ship kind of a thing. I think he just had a meltdown.
Yeah.
And they just couldn't work together. I think it had been building. I had mentioned this quite a while ago. I met CC DeVille in October of 1990 at the Greensboro Coliseum backstage when I was working. Well, I wasn't working with Zion at the time, but I still had contacts and connections. And I got a backstage pass and a ticket to the show. And he was a very nice guy. He signed a backstage pass for me, and he was very amiable. I found him very pleasant. Didn't find him odd and unpredictable. But they didn't play that night. Warrant opened up that show, and I did see them play live, but Poison didn't perform. And I always heard that it was about Bret Michaels having a diabetic situation.
Issue.
But who knows what exactly was going on? I think they were having a lot of problems, just personality wise.
Yeah.
So he played with them, as far as I know, the last time, September of 91 at the MTV VMAs.
Oh, was that the last time? Wow.
I think.
Yeah.
I know that was really
not the last, close to the last. Yeah.
It was one of the worst situations they had because it was he was off the wall. And yeah, they just couldn't depend on him, I think. That time, who knows what was going on? Chemicals, maybe? Who knows? But
Mercury in retrograde.
Yeah. But I've been listening to forgive me if I pronounce this wrong. I never know exactly how to pronounce it. Krungben. Their most recent release, Allah Salah. And I think this is my favorite record of theirs. And I had never really paid any attention to it because I found the previous releases very similar, not really a lot of difference between them. And I thought, well, this is just going to be kind of more, even though I love tracks, I found them not to be particularly unique. I think this is my favorite record. I think this one truly has the highest quality of songwriting across the board. And they actually were here last Tuesday, and I was really desperately hoping to go see them, and I could not score a ticket.
Yeah.
Almost went. One of my coworkers said, I've got a couple tickets, and I didn't. We were trying to figure out a way so I wouldn't have to buy them both, and the guy sold them before I could make that purchase. So I did not see them Tuesday night, but she saw them, and she said they were excellent. She showed me a video. So anyway, she said they looked like they had a great time. But we had some very, very warm weather here early in the week, Monday and Tuesday, were the warmest.
We did too. Wow. What a coincidence.
Yeah, but up here, it's really unusual.
Oh, yeah, of course.
For up here for 93, 94, that's pretty hot.
Yeah.
You know, so it's been much more normal the last 2 or 3 days. But yeah, it was really, really warm last week.
We were in a heat dome. Help, I'm in a heat dome.
Yeah, I think the whole East Coast was really getting hit hard.
I think Europe's going to get it next week.
Yeah, there's been some crazy weather out west. I have some people that I'm still sort of in contact with out in the North Plains in North Dakota, and they've had just a lot of tornadoes and really been hit hard. And I think they had some really rough weather yesterday, so that's coming this way. So that's some crazy weather. But what have you guys been up to, and what have you been listening to?
Grant, what have you been listening to?
I've been listening to the first 2 albums by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs.
All right.
And I forgot how much I love that band.
Yeah.
It's just so minimal and so cool.
Yeah.
And the parts that the guys come up with, not discounting Karen's vocals, but just the music, just with the guitar and the drums. It's just, it's such a great intertwining of minimal sounds. It's just so good. So good.
Intertwining. That's just a fun word to say.
Second album, a bit more layered.
Yes. Yeah.
But still, stuff. That minimalistic. And I love Karen O.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
She's so cool. And I was going to keep going on that route, but then I shifted, and a little bit of Radiohead in there, in Rainbows. So more experimental type Radiohead, and the usual smattering of jazz thrown in there. The drummer Mike Clark has several of his solo albums. He's with the Headhunters. He's played with Herbie Hancock. He's played with a bunch of people, and I believe they're coming to the Jazz Festival.
Oh yeah,
wow.
Yeah, the Headhunters. I think they're coming this year, and I don't want to give away my address, but I live fairly close to where they're going to be performing, and I may walk out in the middle of the street, and I will be able to hear it very loudly, probably standing in the street. But
those tickets are not inexpensive.
Yes, that's shocking to me.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a small festival.
Yeah.
And I've wanted to go for so many years and never been. Snarky Puppy, I think, is playing this year. So hopefully I can round up a ticket. We'll see.
But so that's nothing really stand out like my usual stuff, but that's the things I was thinking of that stood out this time.
I haven't been back to where we all grew up in quite a while. Where would they be playing near you?
At the park near the big body of water.
Oh, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay. That makes sense.
They set up, they erect a big stage.
How long has that been going on?
At least 10 years.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, some really cool acts have been through here.
Very nice.
So
that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Really sounds like that town has really tried. They're really, the Chamber of Commerce or whatever. They're really trying to.
Last year, Terry Lynn Carrington was here, and I was going to get a one-day ticket, and then I'm glad I didn't because they switched her day, and then I would have had the wrong ticket, and I'd have been really mad.
Yeah,
and I was like, why did they do that? Either the print material or the not print, but the social media material had the day switched, or they actually maybe she had a conflict with another show and travel, and they went ahead and switched her. But I was going to buy a one-day ticket, and but I'm glad I didn't because she played the previous day.
Interesting. Okay, well, it's good to hear that they're being progressive in that way.
They're trying.
Yeah, that's great.
Michael?
Well, speaking of the festival, Esmeralda Spalding had played there, another great act that I missed, but I'd listened to her this week. What can you say? It's just awesome, laid back, cool jazz. She's very talented, man. I love her stuff. I was disappointed to hear that Rebecca Del Rio died this week. If you're not familiar with her, and I'll be honest, I really don't know a lot about her. She has appeared in David Lynch films. She's done songs for David Lynch films, and I've always been interested, but not really pursued it. But Rebecca Del Rio had an amazing voice, very passionate, very could be subtle, very strong. What a great singer. Unfortunately, she's passed away recently. What else have I been listening to? The Undertones. My coworkers deserve some punk rock. So we went with the Undertones for a day, and all the bands associated with them, the Buzzcocks, and who else was played? I don't know, but you get to a certain point, it starts mixing up your playlist. So that was a lot of fun. Kate Nash. I don't know who's going to be surprised to know I listen to Kate Nash, but I think she's a lot of fun and creative. I like some people say her lyrics are really simplistic, but I love that. It's approachable, it's relatable when you say the things like she says, the way she says. Hey, Juice Newton was on my list. We had a Juice Newton day. That was a lot of fun. She has a lot of good songs. And songs you may not be familiar with. So Juice Newton, again, give her a listen. And I'll stop right there because we've been apart so long. I've got a long list of people I've been listening to.
Yeah, we're listening. I was just trying to think of the highlights.
I've listened to quite a few things for sure.
Who else passed? Someone else passed recently. I was disappointed to hear.
Lalo Schifrin died.
I did see that.
I heard that. Yeah.
One of my favorite film composers.
Oh, amazing! Sure. It's for television too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll think of it, but he'd lived a long life, and
he great.
Oh, what was his name? Go into Google to because of my poor memory. Maybe I'd have a better memory if it weren't for Google. I'd be forced to.
Lalo wrote the theme to my favorite 70s private detective show, Mannix.
Mannix.
Well, it was really 60s into 70s, but I would have been 67, I think, when the show probably
they had more seasons in the 70s.
Yeah,
I just said 70s.
I associate it with 60s. Oh, Luke Christie.
Luke Christie is who I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
Lightning Strikes. I think the song Trapeze is on that same album.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Luke Christie, man. That was a lot of fun. His falsetto
vocal style.
Yeah, singing along the verse, and then all of a sudden the chorus just shot up into the sky. It's a lot of fun, but I really appreciated that. He passed recently, but disappointing. But shout out to Luke Christie.
Interesting artist for sure.
Yeah,
definitely made his mark. Okay, so we'll get into our topic. And again, what we're going to be discussing today is, our 5 favorite feel-good songs. And of course, this could change tomorrow or next week. And there's how many great songs we could use. But I would say that my list is probably would be pretty consistent. And as we discussed today via phone, um, messenger, I guess, text. How we approach this, it'll be interesting how each of us think about this because anybody who's been a regular watcher and listener, I'm not a lyric person. I'm a vibe person. I'm a music person. So it's how something makes me feel. And it could be really dark lyrics, but if the music's really upbeat and it makes me feel good, I'm like, that's great. Then somebody else could interpret it completely differently. So, it's
Yeah,
all unique to the person.
that's not a feel good. That's a downer, man.
Yeah. Yeah, but I did put a little bit of thought into it, but I had never really considered that too much before. But it was more apparent to me today that there are some artists that generally, if I can say the word,
You
write
can't.
songs that may straddle that line
Oh yeah,
more than some others,
and
maybe
it's
more
they.
pure in their approach.
It's a technique. You can do it on purpose. You can have the happy-go-lucky music, and then you can just write the most depressing lyrics ever, just to use
Yeah.
that device, that lyrical
Mm-hmm.
dissonance.
Well, I guess, I don't think this song is going to be on any of our lists. So I'm going to say it. So Every Breath You Take by the Police is really a stalker song,
Yeah,
but the
yeah. We've
music
talked
is
about it
very
before.
upbeat
Yeah.
and misleading, and
It's very
clearly a lot of
heartfelt music. Like
yeah,
I care about you,
a lot of people have
and I'm outside
misinterpreted the
your
whole
window.
message, right?
Yeah,
So that's probably as obvious of an example as anything I can think of off the top of my head.
yeah.
But
It's the end of the world, and we know it by REM.
yeah, right. There you go. That's a
Happy,
good
happy
example
music,
as well.
and like
Right.
we're all gonna die.
Yeah. And it's interesting that I never heard an interview with Mike Stipe or anybody in the band say this was a purposeful device that we used, but possibly.
Yeah.
Maybe that was entirely their motive.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go first with our number one choice. And I'm going to go with Van Morrison's 1967, Brown Eyed Girl. The song always makes me feel great. I think most people love it. It's simple. It feels good. And I don't know really anybody that likes music just would say that's awful, but it's just positive and feels good. And it's always, I think, creates a good vibe whenever
Well, that guitar riff immediately is just so happy,
Yeah, it's very jaunty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it very much. I'm a huge Van Morrison fan. I don't even know if this song is that typical of his style in a lot of ways. He's much darker generally, but this song is just really upbeat. And I think the next record, Astral Weeks, came out in '68, is much, much darker.
Oh
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, that's their favorite record of his. And I love a lot of tracks on that record. But I think the following record, not to get too far off topic, the Moondance is a nice combination of the two of those things. It's got the positive and the darker.
It's got
and
the
a
depth.
very successful melding of those things to me. I think that's his most successful record. But yeah, Brown Eyed Girl by Van Morrison, 1967. Huge fan of that. That's my number one choice.
Any number of his songs
Oh,
I could put on my list, but that's a great choice. You can't go wrong.
Yeah. How about you guys? Who wants to go next?
Oh, I'm getting the I was going to say the finger. I'm getting the hand sign.
I can give you the
Let me
finger.
get my these are in no particular order. I just wrote them down
finger.
as they came to me. But first one, this song haunts me. It comes up every once in a while. You'll never hear it on the radio. Never. But I just think something about it is just so beautiful to me. And I love to sing it by myself or in a crowd. Come Up the Years by Jefferson Airplane, 1966. That was written by Marty Balin, and it's basically, I think he said it was about a very young groupie that he was like, well, there's an age difference we need to recognize here. Not today. But it's it's just a really lovely song. And Signe Anderson was a singer before Grace Slick got there. She's so different from Grace Slick, and she really makes the song. So that is going to be my first choice there.
I am unfamiliar with this song. I don't know that I've heard it. If I have
No.
heard it, it does not ring a bell at all.
I've not heard it in a long time.
Yeah,
I have
it's a ballad.
This would be an
So-
album track that you would have had to go out of your way to listen to.
I think it's actually on their best of, or actually, what is the
Oh.
worst of Jefferson
yeah,
Airplane?
I don't
Oh,
I think
is
it's
that
on
right?
that album. Yeah, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, 1966.
Okay.
So yeah, not something you will hear on the radio, but
All right.
just a great song. It always
Now,
makes me feel good.
Surrealistic Pillow would have been the following year. That had White Rabbit and Somebody to Love, I think.
I don't know. I believe
67.
that's right.
Yeah.
I think
Was it
that's right.
67?
Was that 67? Yeah. I don't know. It sounds
I
right.
think so. Yeah, I think Crowns of Creation was 68.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have been, Surrealistic Pillow would have had to come out in 70 or 67, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, before Gray Slick was there, I really have never delved into it. And I don't think I've ever listened to that. I'm very familiar with the album cover.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Doesn't it got the upside down plane? Isn't the plane
yeah, I
upside
think
down?
that's right.
Yeah.
I've never went
But-
out my way to listen to it.
Yeah, but Signe Anderson has a lovely voice.
Okay.
I really like listening to their earlier stuff. I appreciate Gray Slick too, but it's almost two separate bands.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
agree.
All right. Well, I'll have to check that out. I always like to
Yeah,
get
I've not.
turned on to new things.
I haven't heard it in decades, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna go listen to it too. I'll be right back, y'all. I'm gonna listen to it.
Mhm.
All right. There's a theme to mine. I want you guys to see if you can pick it out
Is it the Mannix theme?
later. It is not. Dun, 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 dun. It's not. It's in 682. All right. My first choice is an instrumental by a guitarist, very good guitarist, who taught Steve Vai. Now you know who I'm talking about. Joe Satriani's Summer Song.
1992.
Yes,
From the Extremist.
every time you hear that song, you're just like, man, I want to put the top down and just drive. It's
Wow.
That
Was
is
that
a
90?
very that is 92. Yeah.
92. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is I would say that's a very positive song.
Yeah,
Maybe his most happy.
yeah,
Yeah, I can
That's
hear
what
that.
you
I
just-
like that song very much.
yeah. You turn it, you hear it, and you're like, oh, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's just have fun.
Yeah.
Just drive
Mhm.
around and do nothing, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I like that song very much. I
Yeah,
do
he's got-
agree that this one was more positive.
it's got not a ton of parts, but each part builds on the other. It just keeps like, you think
Yeah.
this is happy, check out this. Oh, we're ecstatic. You think that's good. Check this out, and then it gets to the breakdown. You're like, oh, this is great. So it's just a escalating echelon of happiness.
I think that's the thing about Satriani that I like the most is his writing.
Mhm.
His guitar playing is fantastic, but it's not really my thing. It's a lot of legato, but I
Mhm.
love his
Mhm.
compositions. And I met him in Chicago in my first NAMM show with Kirby. And he signed a Guitar Player magazine, which I have somewhere and
Yeah.
stored somewhere. But he was a very nice guy. And he was recording or either had just finished recording Surfing with the Alien when I met him.
Mm.
But he is just such a great musician.
Yeah.
And I say that, with people who they say, well, yeah, he's not that great. And I was like, a musician and technical player are two different things to me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's clearly a great technical player and guitar player, but he's just even a better musician. He's
Yeah.
really a great writer.
A lot of guitarists, we've all heard them where 7 out of the 10 songs on the album could basically be the same song, just kind of you flipped around a couple of chords and you flipped around a couple of keys. But yeah, like you said, his writing, each song is obviously a entirely different composition. And done with the thought of making music, not just showing off, not just trying to shred, not just here's some chords so I can.
Yeah. And I think Steve Vai would say that about Satriani, that he's truly one of those guitar players that is so musical.
Mm-hmm.
He is really musical. When he plays, he sounds like music.
Yeah.
And boy, that's what a higher compliment could you pay to somebody. You don't just sound like you're playing licks, you're playing music. I mean, he's that guy if there anybody is.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of his, and he's just such a good guy. by all accounts. I've met him once, but you know, everybody just seems like he's just a good dude. So
I've
that's
heard
awesome.
nary a word of him being a jerk.
Yeah. I've never heard it. Never heard that either.
Yep.
All right, cool. Yeah, I am going in chronological order, as we might expect.
General
This is
chronological.
my surprise face.
I know. My next choice is gonna be, I believe this is 1974. I believe Get Down Tonight by KC and the Sunshine Band. This song makes me smile.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just a
fun.
fun song. And these are the songs that's what I think of as just a good time.
Mhm.
I don't put it in any kind of category like, well, this is a phenomenal piece of music, is going to last 100 years, but that's already 50 years ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
it's already half a decade.
Yeah. And 51 years ago, I think. And it still sounds great, in
Mhm.
my opinion.
And everybody loves to get down tonight. I mean, come on.
They
You know,
They do.
Not-
I think
not-
you're right.
this
Not
song
just
will be
tonight. I
time
mean,
immemorial. You know,
any night.
get down tonight.
Get down any night. Yeah,
Sometimes during the day.
That would have been a great follow-up single. Get down any night.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a good song. And
Yeah.
I think it stood the test of time clearly, in my opinion. So yeah, that's my
Yeah.
number 2 choice.
Oh man,
Good
I wish
choice.
can I add one to my list? Because Casey and the Sunshine Band, they're just so much fun.
Yeah.
Boogeyman is my choice, just
Boogeyman.
because the horns, there's like 3
Yeah.
different sections where the horns are just phenomenal. You know, I
Yeah.
love that song. So that's a
Yeah.
good choice.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. Well, I'm gonna go with Because the Night,
Mm.
Patti Smith, 1979. That was
78.
well, it was
Was it-
released in 70.
Was the
79.
single released in very early 79?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 79. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure.
I'll take
We
your
can look
word
it
for
up. Somebody put it in the comments below if you know.
I'm going to look it up right now.
Okay.
I wonder who wrote
Bruce
that song.
Bruce
There you go.
Springsteen had trouble finishing that song and gave it to Patti
Right.
Smith, and she
Right.
turned it into what it is. And it's just a tremendous song. I love it, man. Every time it comes on, I can listen to it over and over.
It is a great
You know,
song.
the it's just so pure, you know. She's, you know, you listen to the lyrics and this isn't just love, it's lust, and this is what's ruling our night. And you know, this is, let's not play the game. Let's just be honest. This is what we need, you and I. And if we
Right.
get together, there's nothing else. There's just us. And it's just a fabulous statement of love, an anthem to lust. And
So
it's a beautiful song.
It's just saying, let's get down tonight.
Yeah. Not so many words.
KC just put it out there. I
Yeah.
think it was a
So
little bit more subtle.
single was released in March of 78.
Was it? Okay.
I thought it might have been. I'd never really have. I mean,
Oh.
I own that version, but I know that they recorded the record in late 77. But I
You're
always
right.
assumed,
I can't read my handwriting. Even with my
I
glasses
always
on.
assumed
78.
that he did it, but he never released it until much, much later.
Yeah.
His
Mhm.
version of it.
Yeah.
But I still prefer. I don't know. I kind of still prefer his version, even though it wasn't released as a single or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, her version is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right about 78. I can't, like I
Yeah.
said, I've got it written down here and I can't read my own damn
Well,
handwriting, so.
we all know that I have a thing with dates.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's
I
like-
just, that's
But
a number
was
that
like-
just popped into my head and I was pretty sure that was right. But I didn't know if it was late 78 and released as a single in very early 79. Not trying to be,
No, it's cool.
but that's just, I just
But-
thought it was 78.
Yeah, but Patti Smith, you know, goes without saying. Obviously, she's an amazing artist, and that song really, you know, really speaks to me. No matter who does it.
Yeah, it's a great tune.
Garbage and Screaming Females teamed up to do a version of that song, and it's amazing.
Yeah, you
So-
did let me hear that. You turned me
Yeah.
on to that. Lenny Kaye was a great partner in Sideman for Patty back in the day. I don't
Yeah.
think he gets enough credit for what he contributed to her success. He was really, really solid.
Yeah.
So one of those people that just kind of went under the radar for the masses, but
Yeah.
really well respected. So I just wanted to mention that.
I consider him kind of like Waddy Wachtel, if that's how you pronounce his name. He
Yeah.
he did a lot and contributed a lot to so much stuff, but nobody knew who he was outside
Yeah,
of.
I think
you know.
Waddy is much more aware amongst musicians than Lenny Kaye is,
Yeah,
because he played with everybody. And Lenny
Yeah,
was just
that
kind of
part's
with
true.
Patty.
Yeah,
But
he didn't do a
Waddy's
whole
been
lot. Yeah,
he's had a lot more FaceTime. Linda
he's produced
Ronstadt,
a lot of
Keith
stuff
Richards,
too. Yeah,
and Stevie Nicks, of course. Yeah, he's just he's got such an interesting style that
Mhm.
looks like it's going to go off the rails, but it just is always solid as a rock. But it just like he's great. He's
Mhm.
just and again one of those very likable characters.
Yeah.
For all the interviews that I've seen. Okay.
Okay, let's see here. I'm gonna go with. I got a couple extra ones. I'm gonna go with the song. It's a cover of a song, and it's from a live album because they do have a studio version, but the live is so much better. It's from Live at Leeds. It's The Who with Summertime Blues. And that song always made me, heard it as a kid. It was just so cool. And that's also kind of what we talked about. It's kind of the lyrical dissonance because that song is so upbeat and bouncy. And then you're talking about, well, you can't do nothing because you need money. You can't do nothing because you don't have the car or whatever,
Right.
And but it's just still it's a feel good kind of song, bluesy. And I kind of like the Who's version better than the original. Just because
bonus points if you can tell me what year the original came out.
So we've got you for Jamey.
Wait.
I think I'm right. I'm not 100% sure I'm right, but I think I'm right.
57?
I think it's 58. But
okay.
We'll clarify that.
I didn't know.
You may be right.
I'm totally guessing just on the fact that, when rock and roll started, before things got psychedelic and things were still simple, and 57.
What year did Live at Leeds come out?
You got me on that one.
It is 58. I was correct.
Okay.
Not to be gloating, but I was correct.
And who originally sang that song?
Eddie Cochran.
Eddie Cochran.
It was Eddie Cochran. Okay.
Yeah. And I think he also did something else, right? He always did something else? I think something else is actually a better song.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
But he was boy, how important was he to Brian Setzer?
Mm-hmm.
He was a huge influence on him.
Yeah.
Live at Leeds. I think that was recorded February 13th in Leeds, England, 1970. One of the greatest live records.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting that there were 5 songs on the original release, and then subsequent
the 40th
years,
anniversary or whatever.
Yeah, and I have that, and I have Live at Hull as well, which was recorded the next day on Valentine's Day, and that's
Valentine's
just as good, if not better in some ways. But they were the best live band around at that time.
Yeah.
At that time, there was nobody better live than the Who.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Pete Townsend had this amazing sound.
Yeah.
This Gibson SG special and high watt amps. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
But
that song's just a feel good, fun.
Summertime Blues.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great song. All right. My third choice is 1977's James Taylor, Your Smiling Face. One of those very upbeat songs always puts me in makes my face smile.
Another little jaunty guitar riff there.
Yeah, it's just
I'm seeing a pattern here.
That's Danny Cortmore and probably Leland Sklar and Russ Kunkel.
Yeah.
And but I'm pretty sure that's Danny Cortmore. That's such a great tune for me. I just always associate that with happy memories of being a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that song is you don't really hear that song too much in the ether, or I don't at least. Not that I listen to the radio much. But but anyway, I just always enjoy that song when I hear it, and I think it's a very feel-good song.
Yeah.
So that's my number 3 choice.
Yeah, good choice.
Yeah.
So this song, I mean, it's just so epic 70s rock. John Mellencamp, I Need a Lover. That won't drive me crazy.
Debut
I love
record, 1979.
Is that his first single too?
Well, it's actually not his. It wasn't his debut. It wasn't his debut. I think he had a record
No.
come out in '76, but '79 was his first. I think
where
major
people
label.
knew who. Yeah, I think his first
right.
album was basically.
So that
not
song
good.
is so big when it right off the bat.
Awesome.
You know, it's such a big orchestration. It has that kind of Phil Spector feel.
Yes.
You know, that kind of wall of sound, and then you go through this big intro, and they go right to the chorus. You know, and it's huge, and then it comes back, and you get to hear the verse. I just love the way it's structured. Love the way it is orchestrated.
That is an awesome arrangement.
It's just a great song. Can't help but tap your foot to that song.
And that has some amazing guitar playing on it. I don't know if Mike Wanchik and Larry Crane were the same two guys that was with him later, but boy, that is fantastic guitar playing.
Yeah.
And Pat Benatar did that record. They did it. She did it the same year on her debut record.
Was it the same year?
It was '79. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
But it's not. It's good. But boy, you're right. John Mellencamp's version is epic.
Yeah.
It's just is such an interesting arrangement, and it is so alive. It sounds like they recorded it live in a studio, but who knows? But yeah, it's fantastic.
It's almost like a mini Meatloaf song.
Yeah,
because back then when Meatloaf had all these crazy arrangements and all this crazy stuff, and when that song comes on, if you've never heard it,
right?
If you know that era, you're like, "Is this Meatloaf?"
Yeah, you might think you're listening to "Bat Out of Hell."
Yeah.
So production is very different,
Yeah. Oh yeah, but still,
it's much more alive. It's much more alive. I can hear the studio sound on "Bat Out of the Hell" with Todd Rundgren, although that's an amazing record.
Yeah,
but whoever produced that Mellencamp record, it is really, really, really good.
Yeah,
I'm curious who that is now.
I used to know, and I've forgotten now.
Yeah, I do not know. I'm not going to look.
It's one of those facts that
just mystery
flew away like a bird.
Yeah. All right. Good choice, man.
All right, now me again. I'm going with everyone's favorite DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
1991.
Summertime.
Isn't that 91?
I think it is. I didn't write down my dates this time. I've been lackadaisical. I'm so sorry. But yes, it's such a feel good, just maxing and relaxing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a great song. And still, when it comes on to this day, if randomly, whether it be streaming or radio, I actually listen to the radio some though, so I don't know why I'm doing the wink, and you can't see me winking behind the shades. But if it comes on, it's like, okay, turn it up.
That's a fun song.
Yeah,
it is
definitely
fun, feel good song.
Yeah, I remember when it came out I want to say late summer of '91.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, cool, man. That is a fun song. That's the only thing that matters here is like, how do these songs make you feel?
Exactly.
And do they put you in a good mood? And I would say that song qualifies for sure.
Mm-hmm.
My next choice for number 4 is going to be, there's a few songs that I haven't mentioned just as possibilities, but I can remember this being one of the first songs as a kid that I really latched on to. And this is going to sound a bit strange, but I think that whenever you kind of have this, when you know that you have a connection with something, I had been paying a little bit of attention to music, but not really. I mean, I didn't have any mentors or any body to follow their steps, and it was just like I was soaking it up like everybody else our age.
No direct musical aspirations yet.
Well, I hadn't run into anybody that I could look at as say, oh, I want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It was just all so haphazard. But this was the first song that I can remember. There were a couple of songs the previous year that I really liked, but this was the first song that I remember having this reaction to.
Give us the year first. I want to know the year first.
77.
Okay.
77.
Jack talking.
No, that's 75. You have to do better than that, Grant.
It just that was the first thing that popped into my head. I don't know why. I know that was when I was
No.
much younger. I was like, what?
No, 75. I remember that song. That song never moved me. I always thought it was sort of jive, even though it's fun.
Yeah.
But I never really put it very high.
I was
Even
at
I still don't rate that as very high on their
Yeah.
discography personally. But no, it's not the Bee Gees. Although there is an alternate choice that I was going to mention by them that I really, really was the first single I ever bought, but it's not going to make our list, unfortunately. This is by 10cc, The Things We Do for Love.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
This song really had a connection with me as a young guy,
Like walking.
and it wasn't masculine at all. But there was one of my brother's old friends, my older brother's friends, was in a relationship with a girl, and I think he really had a good ear for a good song, and I think I got it through him, sort of. He made me pay attention to it. And then I started to really love the song, and I've always loved it ever since then. But
Yeah.
that to me is just it makes me happy when I hear it. I just like the melody. I like the songwriting. There's nothing about that song that I do not like.
Yeah.
So that's always been an important song for me.
Oh, the melody is so great.
Yeah, it's just good songcraft, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, yeah, such a good song.
Yeah, that's my number 4 choice.
That's cool. I remember my sister introduced me to that song.
Yeah.
She had all the top 40 hits on 45.
Yeah,
they were always creeping out of her bedroom. She always had the stereo up. So that's a great choice.
That would have been February or March of 77, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds
not
right.
100% sure.
Yeah,
I think that's right.
Okay, let me just qualify my next choice, because not every song that makes me happy is a happy song. When I hear someone being emotive in a song, really expressing themselves, that you can feel it in your bones, that excites me, whatever the topic. And this song, man, when I hear this song, I love it, but I always wish there's someone else around so I could say, stop what you're doing and listen to this. The Writing on the Wall, Sam Smith, from the James Bond Spectre movie soundtrack. It is a gorgeous song. They just convey everything that the song's talking about. The heartache, the doubt. It's a beautiful song, and I love it. Actually, yesterday was our anniversary, and we were in the car, and my wife got to choose because it's our anniversary, I let her choose the music, and this was like the second song that came on, and we both just sat in awe of the power of that song. It's just a beautiful song, and I love it. It makes me happy.
Nice.
Well, that's good.
It
is very interesting. I listened to quite a few songs in preparation for this, and I thought, this song really does make me happy in a way, but I don't know that it really qualifies, but I totally get what you're saying. And it doesn't really matter whether somebody else would say, no, that's not a feel good song.
Yeah.
But does it make you feel good? But there are songs that, and personally, I could say that Someone Saved My Life Tonight by Elton John.
Oh yeah.
That's not a very happy song, but that makes me feel awesome every time I hear it, because he was such a master at writing these beautiful melodies and interpreting Bernie Taupin's lyrics, and they moved me, and I mean, how many songs has he written? He's a legend for a reason.
You could put Crocodile Rock on this list because it's just a fun little dumb feel good song.
You could. I wouldn't. But
I wouldn't either. But you could.
Yeah.
Now I was going to say 3 things. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You let her pick the music, and 3.
She's not around, so I can say that. But
how in the world has she put up with you for this many years?
The warranties run out, man. My trade-in value is
okay.
So she's stuck.
She's
with
just hoping values will go back up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this 34 or 35 years?
34.
Okay, I thought it was 91. Yeah.
34. It's becoming a life sentence for her. But
Well, happy anniversary as well. And I apologize for all the texts. I have sent Mike lots of texts in preparation for this first episode back, and we're trying to work out all the
Technical
information.
bugs.
Yeah. So anyway, my apologies.
Oh, you're good. All right. My turn.
Alrighty.
How about this is a song from an Australian band that I love named The Church. And this is from the Forget Yourself album. And the song is just simply titled June.
Okay.
And it's
How fitting.
Yes, see, there you go. There's you almost get my theme. You can interpret June in the lyric as possibly a person or the month, but it's definitely got a summery feel to it, and it's very, you know how summers were when you're a kid, and summers could seem magical. You have all this time off from school, and time seems to slow down, and summers lasted a long time. It seemed like it's got that feel, that magical, ethereal feel. The music is very dreamy, very open-ended feelings. It's just such a great song that just makes me feel good and reminds
That's
me,
interesting.
it just, it's not in depth. The lyrics aren't that in depth. It's a little.
What record is this from?
Forget Yourself. And I think this
is after Gold Fix.
Yeah, I think this is this might be a 2000 and.
Oh, okay. So
no, it might be a 99 release. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I didn't, like I said, I feel bad I didn't write dates down. But yeah, it's the and that whole album is such a production like that. Like a lot of the songs have that abstract magical quality, I guess, if that's what you want to call. You just hear it and it doesn't sound like anything else, and you're just like, takes you on a journey.
Stated how big of a fan of Steve Kilby you are. Clearly the Church resonates with you.
Oh yeah,
something about it. I mean, I like certain tracks of theirs, and I did try to invest some time. It doesn't reach me like it does you, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how an artist can really resonate with somebody, and they check all the boxes for you.
Yeah. Just check out that one. I know you've heard them before, but just check out June, that one song. And it's just such a sweeping, epic little song that makes you feel the magic of how summer used to feel or whatever, But,
well, this is off topic in a little bit, but I did listen to Reptile recently. I think Reptile is maybe my favorite song of theirs. There's something about the production on that is very fine, but I think it's aged very well.
Yeah.
But it's really got all the elements that I like about.
That whole album is one of my favorite albums.
Yeah. It's a great record.
Priest equals Aura.
Yeah.
And that was, oh my gosh, my brain just went out.
Welcome to my world.
Patti Smith's drummer was with them for one album, and he had made such a difference in their sound, having a proactive drummer who played a little bit busier than their original drummer, yet reined it in enough to where the parts were musical, yet it added so much to the compositions. And I can't remember his name.
I believe you.
And it kills me. But he was only with him for one album, and I was so disappointed. Now, the drummer that replaced him, Tim Powell's a great drummer, and he did add a lot more to their sound than their original drummer. I thought their original drummer was the weak link, and I just thought they might have been more popular if they'd have had a different drummer who actually played differently. And because you can have a decent song, but if the drums can elevate a song, just any instrument can really, but if all the other instruments are doing their part and the drums are a little lackluster, it can hurt the song.
That might be an interesting topic in the future. Like there are songs that I can think of that a particular musician may have played on as a sideman. I've just used Duck Dunn, Stop Dragging My Heart Around. I love Ron Blair and what he did with the band, prior to him leaving. But there is something special about how that song feels, and there's nothing complicated about his bass part on that song. But it feels differently, and it is incredible. There is something magical about what he did, and I didn't understand that. I don't know that I really understand it now. It's this thing that these unbelievable players bring to the table, what they
Yeah.
bring to the recipe. He either made them play differently, something, but there is something magical about that particular song. And definitely that's Stan Lynch's, in my opinion, finest
Mm-hmm.
moment with the
Yeah.
band. But yeah, it's funny how a player can really elevate something. And I guess they could do the opposite as well,
Yeah.
but yeah, very interesting. Okay. Well, my fifth and final choice is a song that this is my only 80s song. Um, I remember hearing this for the first time, and I don't know that I remember hearing these guys. I probably did see a video. Um, I do think I heard, and I won't say what it is yet. I had heard the record prior to that, a video, and it was so different. It was very dark, and I love that song now. But when I heard this was so happy sounding. And this would have been the spring of 85. And I just remember I thought this is just so positive and upbeat. And it's Tears for Fears, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, 1985.
Mm-hmm.
I still think this song is so happy sounding and so positive. And I guess you could interpret the lyrics maybe not that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. But to me, this song is just, I think it's just, I would argue that this is the best song of the 1980s. And how it is composed, performed, I think it has all the elements. I don't know what kind of impact it made versus Billie Jean or Beat It or whatever. I don't look at it that as being necessarily the criteria for the greatest song. But I think this song is the most successful 80s song.
I think it was a number one too. I do not 1, 2, but
I'm not
believe it was
100%
number one.
sure, but it's a fantastic song. And I think that
Yeah.
for a 40-year-old song, I think it still sounds fantastic. The production was really great.
Yeah, that song, if you heard it now and if no one's ever heard it, you could have said, well, this just came out, and it would not stand out, as
I don't know.
There's nothing.
I can't be objective about that. I don't know
Yeah.
that I can say that, but possibly.
I'm saying it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I have these conversations with people much younger than I do, and I'm turned on to things. And it's interesting how our perspective is so different.
Yeah.
But I'm around these people all the time, and it's funny, how we just have different filters, how we see things, just based on what we grew up with. I still would maintain that the 70s is the best decade of music ever. When you take a look, when you think about the production values, the songwriting, the performances from top to bottom. Not that everything that came out from that decade is fantastic. Clear, there was junk like there is in every decade, but I think the 70s is the most successful. Probably was financially the most successful as well. I think it was the first decade that $1 billion was generated through the music industry. It's possible the 80s were more successful. It probably was. But yeah, 70s, all the music, the songwriting, the songcraft. In the 80s, it did continue until, I would argue, 85, 86 is when things started to go downhill. Now you guys may have a different perspective.
No, I agree. I mean, there were still great songs being written, but there was a lot of pablum being written as well.
Well, I would say, Mike, I think you'd agree with this. Generally, you prefer the 80s to other decades because that was a decade that you came of age and you started to really pay attention to things and became a player. Would you argue that that's pretty accurate, isn't it?
That's pretty accurate. I mean, the bands that influenced me were the alternative bands, alternative at the time, played only on college radio. A lot of things you wouldn't hear. Susan and Banshees, Killing Joke, things like that. But I agree about the 70s. It seemed so easy to turn on the radio and hear an amazing song one after the other. Now, as far as Tears for Fears, I can't argue that that's not a great song.
Yeah.
Tears for Fears never connected with me. Even
Oh,
now,
interesting.
listening back, I'm like, okay, that's a good song, but it's just
Wow.
not for me. I don't know.
That is interesting.
Something's missing from it that just doesn't.
Blasphemer.
Yeah.
So Head Over Heels didn't connect the dots with you either, huh?
Shout.
No.
Shout never really connected with me. I think it's fine, but
Yeah,
it's Head Over Heels, right? Or is that the
Yeah,
Go-Go's title?
I know
Yeah,
it's Head Over Heels. Yeah.
It's just such a great pop song.
Yeah.
I just think I love the vocal. I love the simplistic keyboard line. I just think it works really, really well.
Mad World. You don't like Mad World from the first album?
Now, their recording of Mad World
Change. You don't like
is
Change?
Well,
from the
Change
first
was
album?
the song that I was alluding to earlier that
Yeah.
I had heard prior to that, but I didn't. That
I had
is
the
so dark
cassette.
compared
I had
to
the first cassette.
their
Songs from
recording
the
of
Big Chair.
Mad World is mad. It's like this. I heard the later cover of it first because I wasn't Tears for Fears fan, so I didn't hear it right away. But when I heard their original version, I'm like, what in the world is going on with the music in the background? It's like a fever dream of music. So I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate their songwriting. I know it's a good song. It's hummable and memorable and all that, but it just never connected with me. It's just one of those bands that's not in my wheelhouse.
It happens.
So, but we're all different. My final choice. I know you're all on Needles and Pins, waiting to hear my last Needles and Pins by the Ramones. Let's write that down. Good cover, but that's not my fifth song. Fifth song, you know who it is. It's Otis Redding. Fa 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 fa, the sad song. And it's not as sad as some of his songs, but it's such a silly chorus, and it's a great beat. It's a lot of fun. Kim doesn't know a lot of Otis Redding, but she'll sing along to that song. It's just a fun song, especially the live versions. If you've heard Otis sing it live, it gets the crowd going.
Now Duck Dunn is playing the bass. He's playing the bass on this track. So what a fantastic
Duck Dunn, Steve Cropper,
of course. Fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But I had to put an Otis Redding song in there, and that's not even his best, but it makes me smile. I hear that come on.
Right.
Even when if I'm playing my Otis Redding playlist, I dance along to each of the songs, but that one always brightens me up no matter where it is in the playlist when it comes on, because it's just so much fun.
I get it.
Otis Fun Redding.
Yep.
That's his nickname.
His middle name.
All right. My final choice is it's a song about a day in summertime because the drop top is down. And
man, what is that girl's name? I was going to make a joke.
Oh, go ahead, make a joke. I don't care.
What is it? Rebecca?
Rebecca Black.
Yeah.
No, not that day.
Not that Friday.
But It Was a Good Day by Ice Cube.
It is so interesting you mentioned this. I don't know if you saw my post yesterday, but the track that is used for that is Footsteps in the Dark by the Isley Brothers. And I was listening to that yesterday. When
I didn't see I didn't see your post, but that is
such a great song.
Such a quinky dink.
Yeah. I like that song very much, but I really love the music. And Ice Cube, I give the guy credit.
That music. It's perfect. Yeah. Those lyrics, his intonations, and just it was a good day. And that's it's impossible to not feel good listening to that song. I mean, there's some dark undertones in some of the stuff he's saying, and I get it for that era and that area that he's referring to and that lifestyle. It was a good day when things don't go wrong, and that's a good day for anybody.
Right.
But
it is interesting for that era. Would you say 89 to 93, 94, maybe even 95? I would never say that I'm a particularly hip hop fan, but there were tracks that came out.
Yes,
like Nate G's Regulate, The Chronic by Dr. Dre, Ice Cube. There were songs that just were really good. And they hit at a time where I thought, I can't deny this. You know, I mean, I like it. You
Yeah.
know, but that song, I always loved the music, but I give him credit for. It's interesting how you could say, well, shoot, he just sampled something. But you have to have the sense to say, well, that's the song we want to sample because it's going to work for what my message is.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as just somebody's like, well, you know, anybody can do that. No, they can't. You know, because everybody would do it if everybody could do it.
Exactly. It's not super easy.
It's not that easy. You
And
have
for
to
that,
have you have to have the sense to do it.
for that genre where those guys didn't grow up playing instruments, it was
Right.
all they had. Like, oh, I like this guitar sound from this song, and
Right.
they sampled it, you know. And
Yeah.
I had no, as long as credit was given, I had never had a problem. I heard so many people and other musicians talking about it's this and that line, rah, rah, rah. I was like, as long as credit's given, it's fine.
Right.
It's just, it's a new art form. It's a different way of hearing things. It's a different way of listening.
You know,
And
I was unfamiliar with the original song that was sampled back then. I
Mhm.
didn't know it was Isley's brother song.
Yeah.
But I knew it was a sample.
Yeah.
But I had no idea what song it was. But when I heard the original, I thought, oh man, that is so great. And that is a song about not being faithful, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, footsteps in the dark. But yeah, good song. It is a very upbeat song, and it makes me feel good. I have fond memories of that. What was that like? What was that? 93?
Yeah, something like that. I didn't. Again, I apologize. I didn't get my dates down.
I think you can just trust me that I'm right.
Yeah, I wrote my dates down and they're wrong, so we'll just rely on Jamey.
OCD, obsessive compulsive date.
You know, it's so funny. The people that I work with, I completely get on the nerves because I'm sitting there doing my job. I won't say exactly. I was like, what year did that come out? And they're like rolling their eyes, like, shut up. You know, but some people play along, but they're never right, except for one person. They get it right. Anyway, yeah, it's fun stuff. I love dates. People, if you don't know that by now, I love them.
And he's talking about the calendar kind, not the kind that grow on trees.
Yeah, not those. I like those days too.
Oh,
okay. Those days too. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, cool. So, yeah, this was fun. It was fun to get back together and revisit our old hang and go over a new list. And we appreciate everybody checking in with us. And we will be back next week. Subscribe. Please like and subscribe. Help us out. Thanks so much.
All right. Be well.